I had spoken about Quizlet, which is an online flashcard engine that allows you to create flashcards for the purposes of studying. I find that this works really well with with our history curriculum. So here I've created a new study set, and obviously it's just flashcards. So you've got the figure on the one side, Cosimo de' Medici, and then a brief description of him on the other side. I did want to point out a few ways that you can deal with these massive sets of flashcards in bulk. So, for instance, if you wanted to, you could copy a set. So if you just wanted to manipulate it, maybe use some of them from maybe like another teacher and just manipulate it for your own class, and taking away figures that you don't think really have, that you haven't talked about in depth, then you can do that. So you can just copy a whole set of flashcards and basically create a new one. So Renaissance, Reformation, and Age of Exploration Part 3, Part 2, something like that. Then on top of that, so you can import and export all the data that you put into a Quizlet study card. You just go into this More button here, and it'll bring up like a number of options. You can copy, as I've just shown you, copy massive sets of flashcards. You can also export a lot of your data. It turns it into what is basically a Word document, and so you can just, highlight all of the text and you can copy it. Then you could go, so having copied it, you can go and create a new study set. Right here, create a new study set, and then you can import all of that data. Another thing that you could do, so in the Reformation, we've gotten a bit into the War of the Roses and the rise of the Tudors. So, but maybe I want to get rid of, everything here and just have a set entirely devoted to the English Reformation. So I need to get rid of this much larger set of study cards from the Age of Exploration. So I could just delete a lot of those entries here, and then they would disappear. And it makes it a lot easier dealing with all of this stuff just in bulk. Once you've created your study set, you have a massive pool of Quizlet cards that you can then begin quizzing from. So you have a massive pool that you can begin quizzing from. There are some games that students can play, and if you check out the iPad card, then you could play those in class. They're here. On a desktop, you can play a game called Gravity. On the iPads, you can play basically like a word matching game. That's also really good for vocabulary. One thing that you do, and I do this a lot, is you can make various types of tests, which are not as good as if a human being made them, but so for instance, multiple choice, you can set it to start with the term or the definition, or you can do both and it'll switch it around. But I find that this is very good for history, just because you can just randomly assess maybe 10 questions every day, 10 figures. The students can review like the major accomplishments of that particular figure, or it could provide a further springboard for discussion. And it also provides you as the teacher with a lot more data about how your kids are doing from class period to class period. So I give my history students what I call an entrance quiz. When they enter the room, this is the quiz that's waiting for them. I generally take these as classroom participation grades, because there are some things in classroom participation that you take as completion, and students don't generally get stressed out or upset with a entrance quiz as opposed to a pop quiz. They recognize that quizzes and tests are weighted differently and are taken a lot more seriously, but just an opening classroom exercise like this and calling it an entrance quiz lets them know that this is something to take seriously because it's for accuracy, but it doesn't necessarily stress students out in the same way that a pop quiz would. So once I've got my test made, I personally like multiple choice, but you can also do true false. But some of those questions there are never really like worded as well, or they're really obvious. Like Jan Hus, is Jan Hus a self-governing town in Italy? No. Anyway, you could also do matching if you wanted to, or writing. Any one of those would work well. But the thing that is really, really helpful for this is that you can just create new test after new test after new test. So if you were making entrance quizzes or pop quizzes on your own, you might have to keep coming up with questions, and that becomes very time consuming, but Quizlet does all this for you automatically. So once you've gotten this settled, let's print our test. And what I do is I open up a preview in PDF, and it'll look like this. And just to save paper and really save time in class, I only do the first 2 pages of one of these Quizlet entrance quizzes or exit quizzes. You can also give them at the end of class after a lesson. But I only do the first 2 pages, so it's about 10 questions. You can do it double-sided and just highlight that you only want to print from pages 1 to 2, and then you can print that out. And it's very quick, it's very easy, and it also gives you more data, how you're doing with your kids and how your kids are doing with the material in class, and it gives you more accuracy grades as well. This is, I find, to be very helpful. Just in maintaining like an accurate grade book, assessing the kids every day, reviewing the same concepts every day or the same figures every day. So I hope that this has been helpful here, and please shoot me any emails if you've got any questions about this. Thank you.